That's what kept me going for so many years doing like my group in Nashville and Southern Comfort is these folks that are just coming out. It was quite an experience to see them blossom for the first time, and to go from being scared all the time
Yes.
to who they are and
Yeah.
going off
I,
off
yeah,
the deep end.
it's amazing. And
Yeah.
I love that. I love how
Millicent Peacock has been dressing for decades. She's the former chair of the Southern Comfort Conference, and we see her now in vintage looks on Instagram, as well as on her YouTube channel, where she hosts Aunt Millicent's cooking show. So sit back and let's hear about her journey.
Millie!
Hey, Olive!
How's it going?
I'm great. I'm so glad to see you.
Have a seat.
Okay.
welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
We're down here in up here for me, I guess.
Mhm.
Over for you, something like that.
Something like that.
We're in South Carolina,
Mhm.
Greenville, for a second shoot here.
Mhm.
I've known you a long time, it seems like, but we've only met in the past 6 months.
It's been pretty cool, though. So what do we have to drink today?
I brought some wine from Georgia. It's from a winery called Chateau Elan. It's one of the largest ones we have. It's in Brazelton. And it has a little bit of peach in it to represent my state.
Oh,
So enjoy.
thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, Millie.
Thank you. Just a little peach. Slow down.
That's delicious. Gosh. So out of all of the dressers that I know, you've been doing this longest.
No way.
Yeah.
Because you've met a
right.
lot.
I have.
Yeah.
But like you seem to have started early and
Okay.
done a lot. Like a lot of us, we kind of just start later or we're not even that old yet and we're going. So I've seen pictures of you in the 90s.
Yes.
So how long have you been dressing and how did this all start? The 80s and 90s were not nice times for people that like to do that kind of stuff.
It didn't start in the 50s and 60s, in spite of how I dress. I just like the looks. So I like the retro fashion look.
And
so
we live it too.
yeah, so I was dressing as early as, well, since, the story of most of us, because we started very young, but
Right.
publicly, the first time I went out was 1994. That was my first public outing. And I was in college, I was in grad school. And, I'd always done this privately. And I was always one of those folks who saw folks on television, because that was my only outlet.
Right.
And I'm like, those people, they live in New York and San Francisco. And I'll never get anywhere near any of that. Because
Where did you grow up? Right.
I grew up in East Tennessee and ended up going to school towards Nashville.
Okay.
But wasn't in Nashville. And I just thought I was in the frontier. I was like, there's no way I'm going to encounter.
There's no, yeah.
And then I actually went down to Nashville for something, I don't remember what, and I picked up a community magazine and looked through it. There was an ad in the back for social group for crossdressers. And I was like, no way. And I promise you, I stared at that for 3 months before I called the number.
And this wasn't something you found in the South.
Yeah, in the American South in the 90s. Okay?
Wow.
And I finally called the number because I was like, I could actually meet other people like me.
Right.
And I had very low expectations at the time. I thought, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to be petrified. I left the house. I wasn't even dressed up. I went there and took clothes with me, So I make the drive down there, and they held at the all places the Gay and Lesbian Center, which at the time intimidated me.
Right.
So I go to the center with my clothes. I'm sitting there before they even open, nervous as I can be, and in my big old truck. And so here comes this short little person in, unlocks the door. It was the first one I met. The first person I met was about like this tall, okay? and had this voice, like a radio voice, and played bass for musicians in Nashville. Okay, just, how you doing? I'm Pam. You know, I'm like, oh hi. You know, so I went in and I dressed that night and just I got relaxed. I started meeting people. I started really realizing that I wasn't an anomaly. That I was what I like to call a normal variant. And there were people there. Like I had the musicians because it's Nashville. Then I had people who were college professors, and I had people who were teachers, and I had teachers who were, you know, professionals. And one that was a college professor. One of my mentors was a college professor. And I was like, this is great. I couldn't believe it. The world opened up. It did. And see, back then we couldn't quickly connect on the internet.
Right.
The internet did exist. Believe it or not, it
Sort
did.
of.
It did. It was. They still had America Online. That was barely out at the time, and before that they had CompuServe. So there were ways to connect, but it wasn't widespread, even in the slightest bit. Okay, so
And it took 15 minutes to send one picture.
yeah. So pictures no. So we met literally through the phone and through almost like secret societies. It wasn't secret. It was just sort of an open secret, but it was private, sort of by invite only. You had to really work to get and find people, you know. But I went. It really changed my world. Nothing was the same after that. And my little group is a social group, and they met monthly. I guess they still meet. I don't know. But we would go and have, you know, just activities. I mean, it was simple things, just stupid stuff. You know, we'd have like somebody come talk about makeup, somebody from Mary Kay, or they'd come talk about. We'd have a barbecue. One year we had a talent show. It was ridiculous, but we still did a talent show. But then Nashville, you know, there's some people will blow us out of the water. And me up there, I'm trying to do a lip sync or something. Like, what the heck am I doing here? You know, so, but we had lots of different people there. And we started to attract people from other places too. We'd have people come in from Louisville and from Alabama and other places throughout the South. And it became a little, I won't say a mecca, but it became a little bit of a group of a hub for activity. And then back in Nashville, we really tied up with the gay and lesbian groups there, and everything they did, we would do with them. You know, we always went to Pride, and we'd go to fundraising events and arts. I had a lot of friends in the art community there, and they would have all kinds of events. So we'd just go do art or go whatever, and just for a Thursday night, go hang out on poetry slams or whatever. So sometimes I miss it, you know, but you know. But it was great.
So you were able to find and build on a community back in the 90s.
We had a community there. And
that's beautiful.
Then we built up, and I think they still do this. I know they did not do it during COVID, but Southern Comfort in Atlanta was one of the biggest conventions at the time. And there were like 300 and some people there. And so I got involved in that too. And I actually chaired that one for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So there's probably people who may remember me from back then. I don't know. Basically, we would have I don't know if you've ever been to any convention like that, they would have like a couple of events where they would just get together and they'd have breakout sessions for informational sessions. And this was for everybody in the transgender community, at least that's what we called it then. I don't even know, is that word politically correct? The transgendered these days, I guess it is.
Transgender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I've used that word online and I got like.
Transgender or transgendered?
Just transgender, period.
Transgenders.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that's
okay.
We're under that umbrella.
Well, I know that.
Whatever.
Now it's got all these little boxes underneath, and people get mad when you use the wrong word.
Yeah.
So I don't like those people that get mad.
Yeah. We're all just trying to figure this out.
I'm not want to offend anybody. Y'all know who I'm talking about. So, but yeah, they would have breakout sessions for folks, and then we'd get together, have dinner, and they had a talent show, and they would have what else would they have? There were all kinds of little events, and we'd go out and go take a busload of people to like what it was the Hard Rock Cafe, which probably doesn't even open anymore, and Planet Hollywood. I know that isn't open. And sometimes they go to the one of those mystery theaters and do that, and that was a lot of fun.
It's like a couple day event.
It's usually about a 3 or 4 day event. So, yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. I know they've got the conventions going on now. We haven't done that yet.
Many years ago, I went to the Be All in Cincinnati too. That was my first one, and I don't know if they do that one anymore or not. So. That was my first convention. I was barely 25 years old. So, yeah.
Did you even dress up or you just...
Well, I got dressed when I got there. Yeah, definitely. So, it's funny because I was definitely the kid there because everybody else was way up there and rich, and there was more sequins per square foot than I've ever seen in my life. I was like, I could barely keep up with all this. And they all had money too. It was like,
so I know you did a ton of stuff in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then you kind of
Yeah, the
You
break.
kind of took a break for a while.
The
What
break
that?
was the break was about really more about I had started a relationship, and we ended up going ahead and getting married and everything, and it was really a break because we wanted to start a business and start a family. So
A business and a family?
well, in the
You
same
can do
time.
one or the other, and then you can start the
I
other.
never said I wasn't great at it. I did the best we could, but
I know.
but it was a business and a family.
Wow.
And then we kind of took a break from it because it was just a whole lot.
No, it's
And you have to prioritize family and have to prioritize the businesses.
Right.
And so I pulled away. That doesn't mean I didn't like reclassify myself or anything, but I just wasn't doing anything in public.
right.
And so I just took a break. And there was a point where Southern Comfort was getting a little too big and it was getting hard to manage. And I didn't want to. There was a lot of personalities involved in it too. So I had
we
to
have
step.
so many personalities. in
I
the
had to step
community.
down from that because there were so many people kind of just making a lot of demands on your time, and I was just I need to take a break.
Right.
It was really probably too long of a break, so that's why I stepped away. It wasn't anything personal. I wasn't mad at anybody.
Right.
It was just like I need time out. And then of course we had other things to do. So that was probably unfortunately 20 years where I took a break.
Wow.
But that doesn't mean that I wasn't watching.
Right.
And I wasn't seeing what everybody was doing. Okay. And it didn't mean that my wife and I didn't talk about it. We still were very much aware, she was well aware. By the way, I met her in Atlanta when I came to Southern Comfort.
Oh wow.
Well, you know that story or not. But, yeah. I mean, I kept, well, actually we met in Nashville, but before Atlanta. She lived in Atlanta. And the story was this, it's a crazy story because she basically had a business and she was working with someone who was going through the transition.
Mm-hmm.
And then she made friends with some of the people in the gender community in Atlanta. And then we invited some of them to come up to the Nashville. And she jumped in the van with them.
She wasn't even invited.
Not really. So she comes up to Atlanta in this van full of us. And I guess we just started talking. And we never stopped. That's pretty much it. And then I would go to Atlanta to visit sometimes for Southern Comfort we'd do a business meeting every once in a while. I kept running into her. And I was like, oh, it's you again. What a coincidence. How amazing. And then before you know it, we couldn't stop talking. So that's kind of how we met. I would not have met her if I hadn't been out.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So all y'all out here who are thinking about not coming out, okay, and you may be thinking like, I can't do this. You can unlock things in your future that you don't even know, okay? That could happen to you if you just be yourself. You have no idea what's out there until you try. So that's my advice for anybody who's still like thinking, I don't know if I want to do this or not. And that doesn't mean you do anything you want to do, but you need to behave yourself. And Millicent will come after you if you don't behave yourself. But I'm saying, be yourself. And once you're yourself, other people will find you that are like your kindred spirits.
Right.
And that's who you want to hang out with. And I would not have ever met her if I hadn't gone out and started exploring, ever. And we've been together, we're 24 years now, something like that.
Oh my God.
It's pretty memorable.
Congratulations.
I know.
I don't know what the 25 is, but you're coming up on it quick.
I think it's paper mache.
Paper mache. Really? For 25, paper mache.
Mm-hmm.
So, has it always been Millicent? Obviously, I mean, even in the 90s, were you Aunt Millison?
No, I was too young to be an aunt, I guess. I had a different name back then that I used. I've decided that was my middle name. So
Okay.
my old name I used was Jenny or Jenny Lee, whichever one you want to call it. And it is a very Southern tradition to call young ladies by their middle name. I don't know how many of y'all know that. So as I came back out, I wanted to use a different name because the name I had, it felt a little juvenile to me. And I was like, well, let's try a different name. But before I didn't just suddenly wake up and decide I want to start doing all this actively again. It really had a lot to do with COVID of all things.
Right.
Because, and this is what happened. I mean, I ended up catching something. I'm sure it was COVID. And my wife got it too. But there was a point during that where I was really like, and none of us were ever in danger of death, thank goodness. But it was like, I really have a thought.
Serious enough.
It was serious to where we were like knocked out
Right.
a lot, sleeping a lot, okay, and really thinking a lot. And it was like, what do I really want to do in life? And we had gone through a lot. We raised our family and everything. And all this stuff. And I was like, what do I really want to do? And I finally, I just said, hey, I'd really like to go back into see if we can find some sort of public expression of my gender self. And she said, of course you can do that, And so in my fever dreams, I had this vision of myself as some maven doing a television show. And it wasn't a cooking show. It was a show just where I was hosting it like Elvira or Svengoolie, where I would just host things. And I had some experience with YouTube, and it was in black and white, and it was just ridiculous. And I was like, and I had these episodes planned out during COVID in my head, and then I was like, well, she has to have a different name. So I just wanted something that was dignified, but also prissy at the same time, and also old, but also very young.
You got.
Yeah.
I think you got it.
And I tossed around a few names, and for
Right.
some reason that one just hit me. And I'm like, that's perfect. Let's do that. And then I took Peacock because that's my wife's maiden name. So that's where that one came from. So I kind of renamed myself. And the cooking show that I
With
do
your
now-
rebirth,
Yeah.
you're coming back out.
Yeah,
to the
and then
world.
so I had to do a lot of things when I came back. I had to learn how to do makeup again. I forgot.
And you were on a different canvas. You
I'm
were
on
on
a
a way
different
different
canvas.
canvas than you were back in.
I had I had a 50+ year face, and back then it was 24 years old, and I
Right.
had to really think like, how am I going to do this? And I wasn't sure if I could even pull it off. Honestly, I said, this is silly. I don't think I can do this
Right.
anymore. So I had to relearn a lot of things. I had to relearn how to do makeup. I had to relearn about how to do hair, and I forgot like, oh, I don't have any jewelry. I was like, I don't have anything. I was like, gosh, I have nothing. Started from zero, which is a good way to be in some way, but I literally just started with nothing and started over again, made kind of a new identity. And so then I was like, well, okay, I'm dressing now. Great. I'm at home. Great. There's not a whole lot of places to go where I live. So
Right.
now what? So it's Saturday night, or it's Sunday night or whatever. I'm on holiday or whatever. So I decided to take that idea I had to make a show and just start cooking. And my first idea was to take really old, horrible cookbooks, which I'm sure you've seen online, where they use like mayonnaise and Vienna sausages.
You mean the 50s cookbooks?
And exactly. And Jell-O. And there was one
With
I saw.
all kinds of crazy things in there.
There was one online I saw. There was a tomato soup cake, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make that or not. So the whole idea was to make these horrible recipes and then to try them. And I'm like, I don't want to waste time.
You got to do one of those. That would be so
Okay,
fun.
tomato soup
Just
cake,
one.
just for
tomato
you.
soup cake. That would be.
I'm going to have to watch
That
something
would be.
else.
I would want that.
So when we get the tomato soup cake, I'll send you a piece. So I thought like, I don't know if I want to do this with the nasty recipes because I'm wasting time. I actually like good food. It's obvious. So I thought, well, let's just start making something that I knew how to make. So that's where it came from. And there was just one Saturday I was like, let's do this cooking show. So I kind of laid out the layout in my head of what I wanted it to look like, and then the rest was just kind of building it up from there. So and I have some plans for it. Like one day I wouldn't mind like making a cookbook, obviously, or something like that.
Right.
Or we even thought about like books of Aunt Millison says and just making stupid wisdom, or something like that. We have ideas of we do craft things, and there's custom fabric you can order online. I don't know if y'all know about that, where you can put images on the fabric. And we thought about making little cartoon millies and making aprons with with a picture on it. What do you think?
Do it.
First customers.
We
right?
will be your
Hell
first
yeah.
customers.
Okay, good. So, and I'm a bit of an artist, so I could draw she is too, so we could design that ourselves and make something out of it. So it may not go anywhere, it may go everywhere. I don't know. It's just something I like to do, something to play. It's play to me. All this is play. So, and I still work, I still work really hard all the time. So, but I'm happy to be out now, and my wife can tell I'm happier, and I'm more well adjusted and all that good stuff. So, that's where the show came from.
Right.
That's literally where it came from. It's just right out of my head and from COVID.
So Aunt Millicent's cooking show. She's on YouTube. The link will be in the bio.
Thank you.
Go check it out. She does some fun stuff. She does some fun stuff with some other people too.
And try the recipes because they're actually pretty good. I mean, you can tell I'm not a slacker on food, so but try it. But don't be afraid to experiment with those. You can make them your own. There's a lot of those recipes I make, so you can make them vegetarian, or you can make them some different. So you can add your own veggie or add your own meat, wherever you want to. So you can make it your own. You don't have to make exactly what I make. So
So when you took your break, you were leaving like management roles in this community
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. Are you looking to get back into that kind of stuff?
I don't know if that's the pathway I want to take because I did enough of that already.
Right. It takes its toll.
It does. It will take it.
It
will,
shows you the negative side of people,
It
even
takes
good
you-
people.
It really does take your toll on when you're trying to help people. You're trying to do the right thing, and you're trying to do good for the community. And people
Right.
are just like, giving you the pitchforks and all that. It's tough. It's like, why am I doing this?
How
Right.
dare you to be happy?
I mean, I know people have issues, and you got to address their issues. But it was tough. It was real tough, and especially like towards the end of Southern Comfort, we just basically ended up with a big old fight among the management. I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
I mean, it was a fighting over stupid stuff that was accomplished, things that we did. Some people didn't think we did the right thing here or there or whatever. And I was like, we were just trying to put on this conference for you guys.
Right.
And people were coming after us and calling us names and stuff and all this stuff. And it's like, we don't need this. Why am I here?
So then you're going to continue on with your kind of your own
I will-
brand of stuff.
I will do the show until I'm tired of doing it.
Mhm.
And not yet. So whenever I'm tired of cooking and tired of making, there may be another show in my head. I don't know. Let me dream on it some more. We'll see what happens.
Awesome.
So, but I will cook until I get tired of making them, And I would like to get out more. Obviously, I enjoy getting out more
Right.
a lot because,
It's fun.
yeah, but I have no desire to be, have some massive influence audience or anything like that. It's like, as long as I have quality people who like to just come check me out and watch
Right.
what I do, if I don't worry about follower counts and views and all that stuff too much. So,
For sure.
and I've seen a lot right now with fashion, with retro fashion. Everybody's
Retro
Yeah,
into
fashion
it.
totally.
is so big right
Yeah.
It's like I love it.
And you are.
I didn't even think I was
Exactly.
trendy. I was like, I tell you about the retro fashion. It was like, I'm not a kid anymore. I might as well embrace the beauty of a different age, and
Right.
thought I
Yeah.
would lean into it more than avoid it.
Mhm.
And I started looking at the clothes from the 40s and 50s. I always liked them because they're pretty, and it's like I could do that. I could definitely do that. But as far as like, I'll tell you what happened. I used to make a joke about why I didn't go out anymore. It was the fashion of the 2000s.
I'm not dressing like that.
It was the-
Kitchen
it was-
like-
You had to show this. I'm like, you don't want to see what's in there. You don't, okay? I'll just stay home. It was all, what do they call it? Muffin top stuff. And
Right,
I was
right,
like,
right.
I was like, we're not doing this. Yeah, the great thing
It's
about
showing.
like 90s fashion though at the time, and you can look at even those photos from the 90s, is they covered everything. In 80s fashion especially.
Yes.
80s fashion, 90s fashion, they had shoulder pads.
It was bold and bright, but
It
they
was-
still covered everything.
And it was big too, and it covered things. It was,
Right.
I mean, it was I think some of the clothes, especially the 50s and 60s, absolutely golden age if you're like a cross dresser because it covers everything.
Right.
You can blend right in there.
You don't have to do a full shave every time.
No, I ain't worried about it. I get rid of hair. That's no problem. It's all that fat stuff I got to do something with. It's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. But those 2000 fashions, they were rough. I mean, I was just like, I don't think I can blend in that way. And I was still, relatively young then. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this, y'all. So
I don't know what happens when we hit 30, but we get silly. We focus on the wrong things.
I think we do too. And we
It's-
forget how to play because
yes,
it's
yes.
important
We
to.
forget how to be.
Because we want to be serious.
Oh,
And some of my transition out of it was like, I want to be serious now. It's time to be serious.
Right.
And, start this, be real and work on your, and I guess some ways it worked out pretty well because, we seem to be doing okay, but, there's a price for that, for you put everything aside and move on to something that's different.
Right.
But it's all about what your priorities are and everything. But you can have it both. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can have it both. You just have to work at it. So that's just the way I see it. So, but yeah, I like the fashion that covers things. It's so much easier. It's
I do too.
and I mean, back then I was relatively fit, and I still couldn't do enough to cover all that up.
Right.
I was like, no, y'all don't want to see all that. Trust me. Anyway, but yeah, 90s fashion is the best too because you had all the, it was almost like shoulder pads and soldier outfits and things like that.
So this has been a part of your life for a long time.
How about since, like, there's
Before most of y'all were born.
how about since before the 90s and 80s, like try the 70s. I was born in the 70s.
Right.
There's photos of me. You can take this for what it's worth, but there's photos of me as a kid taking rolling curlers and putting in my hair and going to the mirror and doing this. That's a story I heard, but there are photos of it.
Right.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what the 4-year-old self of me was doing. I don't remember being 4. Okay. They were up to something. And I'm sure my parents saw it and everybody saw it. And and I think my family knows quite they're always been a little suspicious, but what was that? What is motivating a 4-year-old to do that? Are they experiment or is it play like we talked about? It's just probably play that everybody's going to roll their eyes at, but it's still play.
It's good play.
So how long I've been at this? I couldn't even tell you. What year is this again? You're looking at 50 years.
Right.
On some version or another.
So with that, who all knows about Millicent? Who all knows
Obviously,
about...
my wife knows about Millicent.
Yes.
My father passed away 5 years ago, and he knew.
Okay.
Because he found stuff.
Oh, how did that go?
Didn't go well. He made some
80s?
Threats. No, this was in the 90s. And he made some threats that were not good. I'm not even going to repeat them.
Right.
But he passed away 5 years ago. So, but funny thing is, I was there the day he passed on, and I think we just resolved to let it go and not worry about it too much. But it wasn't good for him. He didn't take it well. My mother does not know. I don't want her to know. She's 80 something right now. There's no need to spread it around. But interestingly enough, I have a second cousin who has come out in the last 2 years as trans, and the whole family's not handling it very well. So, but
so in that aspect, you're like, well, I'm glad I didn't.
Well, but I have been able to reach out to my second cousin and talk to her, so which is very good. So, but yeah, she doesn't know. Who else knows? I'm not out at work.
So this is a separate thing for you.
Yeah, it's separate. Yeah, but it's still. I think there's a lot of people who do know. They just don't talk about it.
Right.
Which is kind of respectful. And I think a lot of my cousins know, but they don't talk about it either. So, but it's a private family thing. And I like to say, and this shocks people when I say it, but it's like not everybody deserves to know who we are. They don't. It's like I don't want to explain all this all the time. I don't want to apologize for it. I don't want to make people uncomfortable.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think everybody needs to know. Is that shocking?
No,
it's a personal life.
This is how you want to handle it. That's good.
And if you share it with somebody, I think and if somebody's willing to accept it, I think it's a huge sign of respect from that person and from you.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And then if they do, if you can find some way to reconcile it with your friends and family and stuff, that's great. But if they don't want to have anything to do with it, it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Move on.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can really do. So, but my wife's known since way before we got married, which has been great. So that's who knows.
So you had the key support there all the time.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't fight now.
The key support was there all the time.
Yeah.
That you needed.
Definitely.
That's beautiful.
100%.
So if we can take some time, my lovely wife would like to come in and ask you a couple questions. Is that okay with you? If not, she can just stay over there.
Just stay behind the...
No, I don't. Wherever y'all want. This is your show, not me. I would have put y'all with an apron and a frying pan. So.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for being in here. I love that. What you're wearing today, I'm like jealous because pink is the favorite color.
Pink is the bomb.
Yes, absolutely.
But then you have the pink hair.
I know. I'm trying to grow it now. I'm get bored or just to shave like every 3 days my sides.
Yes.
So I was like, no, I don't need these. but yeah. So what is the difference that you see on people from then to now?
I think the gender thing is everywhere in the news, which is simultaneously good and bad at the same time. Because there was a point there I was just like, wow, this is just everywhere. And it's like, it kind of makes you a little uncomfortable because it's so widespread. And obviously there's lots of misinformation out there. And like I say, back in the 90s, it was not on the news at all. It was on Phil Donahue and it was on Jerry Springer. And that was it. Those were my role models, those shows. do you wonder why I was scared to come out? You know, but I mean, I will say I have watched some of those shows in retrospect on YouTube. And they were very respectful. I don't know if you've seen them or
I
not.
agree. I agree.
They were very respectful to
They
trans
did a
people.
good job back then, and we didn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't recognized.
It wasn't, especially like Donahue. He was just like, I mean, I don't know if you know, Donahue put a dress on for the show,
Yeah.
the whole show. He wore a
Ooh.
dress, yeah,
Fun.
because he wanted to get this. He was trying to understand it better,
Yes.
you know. And it's like, I guess Donahue's still around, but anyway, I mean, that's the difference. I say is it's very open now, and you know, I think like with COVID, I think COVID affected a lot of youth, especially because they had a lot of time to really think about what they wanted in life.
How they want to act.
What do they want?
Yeah.
What do you really want? And I think they really thought about it a lot, and that's why we've had this torrent of people coming out right now.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe it's a trend they're following. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trendy, but it's like maybe that's what they're trying to do. It's just all trying to do something trendy or something different,
Yeah.
or something counterculture. I don't know. I know they had a lot of time to think.
Right.
You know.
Well, I
We
think
did
for
too.
more,
Yeah.
I think for more, it's more like they enjoy now to be in themselves, and doesn't matter if you are
Yeah.
okay or not.
Yeah.
A lot of youth now is like, if you don't like it, we just walk away then, or look the other way, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's more for them. They're like, okay, that's how you want to present yourself. That's fine.
It's good though, because
Yeah.
people are a lot of people are more accepting of it, I think. You know, but back then we had to, you know, do a little bit of, I guess
Like,
we had, before we went somewhere, we do a little bit of scouting to make sure things are okay,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe we don't do that so much these days, but back then we were very cautious with being out in public, you know. So I think more people are open about it now, so.
awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, so one question for me.
Okay. So my question for you, for Miss Daddy is,
Miss Daddy.
why do you
That's
like the transgender community? What do you get out of hanging around with us?
I would say that I like the bravery that comes with your alter ego coming out,
Hmm.
like so beautifully,
Mm-hmm.
and I have so much respect. It takes a lot.
It does.
It takes a lot
Mhm.
of courage.
Yes.
To not just to be how you feel inside out,
Mm-hmm.
but to be around people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like that. I love that. I admire that, and I love how much fun I can see. Like I have experienced with the weekend, the girls' weekend, from just the first night, and then the second night, and then just the second night more like, yes, let's go have fun, and everyone is just so open because like they feel so more accepted and more love. I can say it's just more like, okay, finally I find my group, something like that.
It's rewarding.
It is.
That's what kept me going for so many years, doing like my group in Nashville and Southern Comfort is these folks that are just coming out. It was quite an experience to see them blossom for the first time, you know, and to go from being scared all the time to who they are and going off the deep end.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how it's just like from that little cute thing in there, just like I was so nervous. And then just like after that, you see all the love and all the support that everyone brings into the group, and it's just like, oh my gosh, yes, I want some more.
And then like you folks, when you're out doing things, I know you have no idea who you're impacting, especially the shows like this and my show. Somebody's watching it, going, ooh, you know.
I find some more people like
that. Somebody's watching right now. Somebody's watching. I know you are. Who's thinking right now? I would like to try this. Don't be afraid.
Yes, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
And, I mean, it's scary, yes, but
We are out there, and harness your fear and point it in a direction, and you can reach a place where you're not afraid anymore. And that's what kept me coming back for so many years. It was like, we got to be visible and be out, because that's what's going to keep people from hurting themselves and doing, you know, and before you know it, the people who are coming out right now, they'll help somebody else. and then the cycle continues. So
Yes.
that's why I'm here. That's why I want to do shows like this. I want to be out. Is people need to see that it's okay. It's okay. And whatever your comfort level is, it's also okay. You don't have to go full blown. I'm getting a whole surgery. Blah blah blah. No, you don't have to do that. Everybody, calm down.
Small steps.
You can
yeah.
take small steps, and it's
Yes.
perfectly
Yeah.
fine. Okay,
Absolutely.
and be comfortable with yourself. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, it's your own rhythm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Oh, I had so
yes,
much fun.
I love it. And I'm gonna borrow that dress because yes.
Oh, honey, we're gonna have to cut it off for you though.
I'll
No?
make it work.
To make it work. All right. How do we do? We got more to go out or what?
Oh, we got more still.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, we're not done yet.
Okay, I got a drink.
I know you haven't had much of that, so
Making it
just work on it.
bitch.
This ain't my show, so y'all do whatever y'all gotta do.
Beep. Okay,
Should I
so
throw a hand up?
That wine is delicious though. It's really good.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a good job at Chateau Lawn. That's a huge winery. You can see it from the interstate. Gigantic. Go ahead.
so we're gonna move on to the last three. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, then you get to ask me a question.
Okay.
The first one's just it's not really a question. Let's kind of just devolve it a little bit. You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Have you dealt with negativity?
Oh gosh, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did you work through that?
The first negativity.
How did you work like back in the day?
Mhm.
It was a person on person negativity. I'm
Oh
sure.
no, it was not person on person
No?
negativity in the down. Back in the day, it was me. It was self-loathing. You have to
Oh.
overcome the self-loathing. You have no idea the self-loathing you have to overcome.
Because we
sometimes.
didn't hit on that at all. This has been
Yeah.
something that you've had to work for. This
This
isn't
was-
just something that was there and you just did it. It's something you had to.
You have to deal with it inside. It's like you have to figure out who you are.
Right.
Yeah, that's what that's the first one you have to overcome, and get over your big bad self, and realize it's like it's okay. You're a normal variant. We have been around. How long have we been around? There's statues
Forever.
of transgendered people in Rome, and intersex people, and they've been around forever. They had laws in ancient Rome. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here 2,000 years from now. So once you realize that's who you are, you have to deal with it. And then the negativity from that was just, I probably wasn't the most masculine of young men.
Right.
And so obviously I heard all that bully stuff, but that's boring and everybody goes through all that junk. So I don't even want to dwell on that stuff. But really the only negative stuff, really negativity, not in public, not back in the day. I mean, somebody tried to steal my purse once. They tried. They didn't make it. They tried. And, but I have not really publicly have not experienced in public not that much negativity. I may have some people look at me sometimes sideways, but
Right. But
nobody-
still being in the South.
yeah,
This is in the 90s.
yeah. We would go literally anywhere we felt like.
Right.
I mean, we stuck around a lot of places that we knew were safe,
Right.
especially in the GLBT.
Well, you still have to think about that stuff.
Especially in the GLBT community, but we got to where, let me tell you how unsafe places I've been, if you want to call it unsafe. I've seen the Rolling Stones. Get dressed up. We got on one of my friends, they had busing into the concert. We got in Nashville, we got on the bus to go see the Stones, on their final tour
Right.
ever, which they're still
Which was
touring.
20 years ago and they're still going.
Anyway, we did that. We went to concerts. We went to the hockey game in Nashville. I mean, we, like I say, international borders.
Right.
We-
But everybody was together. You were
yeah.
not so much
Well, I
alone.
flew by myself, I
Right.
think. But yeah, it was a big group and everything. But I really have not experienced any sort of, and definitely not direct violence. I mean, somebody may yell at you or something, but
Right.
whatever. Now, I've seen just a little bit online, and sometimes I see a lot of people really go off online about how they get attacked. But surprisingly, I've had very little, and I don't even really know why. I mean,
Right.
every once in a while it pops up, but they send them to Blocktown. That's the end of that, So, but I mean, not a whole lot. I don't know, and even if I do, I don't let it get to me. So,
Right.
Mm.
So you don't even engage with that level of nastiness.
Well, I say this: is I don't think you can call me anything that I haven't called myself already.
That's a power.
There's a lot of power in that.
Yes.
And when you've gone through it in your head and gone through it over in your emotional self, it's like, well, you can say those words if you want, but Got anything else?
Do you like the outfit at least? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, I don't know whether they I'm not worth making a comment online or whatever, but nobody really bothers me that
Right.
much, really. It's mostly compliments, honestly.
Yes,
You know.
you look amazing.
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
I do my best. I work with what I got. Let's say that. That's all I can do, right?
So is there anything you could tell yourself back in the 90s or back in the 80s that now
Yeah,
that
I would. If I could go back in time, first of all, I would change some of my investment options. But other than that, I would tell that person to, it's okay. Everything's good. Everything's going to work out in the end. Be yourself. Be open. Be open to new things. Don't be afraid. Don't be reserved. It's all going to be all right, you know. And trust your instincts because they're never wrong, ever. You know, never. They're never wrong. Go out and do your thing,
Right.
and raise your flag. You know, and others will find you.
because it's not so much about you, it's about them.
It's about everybody around you.
Right.
Internally, you can be at peace. But that's what I would tell that person, definitely. And I'd say you need to invest in Microsoft. Mhm.
Or Apple if you do it at the right time.
Either one.
Into the 90s, Apple, come on,
Mhm.
you'd be
Well, if we could all go back in time, wouldn't we do that? So I'd pick up some old comic books too and put them on the shelf. But other than that,
So, one question for me,
oh, okay.
then we'll wrap this up.
Let's see. So how long have you been going public? And what do you think?
2014 was my first public outing. I know that's not what I say a lot of the time because it was kind of an anomaly. We were visiting my mom and dad in California,
Mhm.
right next to San Francisco. And so we're like, we had just started into this and
Mhm.
we're like, let's go out. Okay. She was like, let's go out. And I'm like, okay. So we did that. And then it was a long time before I got into before we went out. It might have been mid 2019,
Yes.
2020.
You still did it though.
Actually
But we did. We started because we were going out and we were taking a lot of pictures. We had just started online doing our little thing on Tumblr, and we were taking a lot of pictures.
Oh, there's a flashback. Oh.
We were taking a lot of pictures, and then we were like, "Hey, let's
Talked about
go.
GeoCities earlier.
Let's go to somewhere that's pretty to take a picture."
There
and
you
then
go.
that's how we started.
Yeah.
Back out into the world, and that was mid 2019. And then it was just for pictures, and then we were like, well, let's have lunch, and then it just kind of grew, and it's addicting. I love
It is
being out in
addicting.
public, not
Mhm.
just for the fact that it makes me feel good about it, it's for the fact that I know that I'm showing other people
Mm-hmm.
that we're here.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that to me, that inspires me to do any fucking thing. Pardon my
Yeah.
language. Anything. Seriously, to get out there and just show myself because it might inspire somebody else.
Exactly.
That's what I do it for now. Seriously, it's fun. Yes, I love doing it. We love doing it. We love going out. But the reason we do it is because
That's exactly it. That you're on the right track. I know.
it not only helps our people out that are trying to find their way, but it takes those other people and goes, look, we're here.
Yeah, just
And
remember.
stand back.
My
and
first
watch.
my first trip in public, I did not dress. I went to our little meeting and I
Right.
took clothes with me. And then as soon as the meeting was over, I took off and
Right.
drove home.
And you're pretty sure you're going to be around a safe crowd.
Yeah, I was in a very safe, small little room, and that was
Right.
it. And then the next time I went, I'm like, I'm going out. Let's go. And I went out. So that's what you have to do. That very first trip is very critical, though. But don't be afraid of it. Do it.
It's hard as hell, but once you do it once, everything gets easier.
Absolutely. Oh, you're out of drink.
I believe that was my second one.
No, I'm feeling it a little bit.
I'm acting like I don't have another interview after this. It's been awesome. It's been great. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you, Olive. I had so much fun.
Take care, Millie.
Thank you.
Bye.